Evening, everyone, and thank you, Anita ji, for your so kind words and giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge with all the participants. Uh, I can't say that I am so knowledgeable, but whatever I have had with me, I would like to share with all of you. Now, I would advise all of you that for practice and procedure, Supreme Court rules 2013, you should go through because it will be easy for all of you to understand the procedure and practice from the Supreme Court rules. Basically, we can divide the Supreme Court jurisdiction into four parts. First is the original jurisdiction of the Honorable Supreme Court. Under original jurisdiction, the first is we can file original suits under Article 131. Actually, the original suits side are which are being filed between Government of India on one side and the states on the another side, or between two states, or Government of India and one state on one side and other states on the other side. This is basically to give a finalization of the dispute, which should be related only to questions of law or question of fact. It should not be a political dispute at all. The second point is that it should involve only question of law and question of fact only, that which I have told you, and for final adjudication by the Honorable Supreme Court. There are certain judgments on this original jurisdiction part, whereby water dispute cannot be included in an original jurisdiction under Article 262 of the Constitution of India. Any water disputes which pertains to two states will be decided by Water Dispute Tribunal. So one case wherein state of Karnataka versus state of AP, the dispute was the state of Karnataka filed suit before the Supreme Court, and objection was taken by the state of Karnataka that as the matter pertains to the Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal, Kaveri Water Dispute Distribution, therefore matter should go to the Water Tribunal, not it should not be filed under Article 131 as original jurisdiction. To which Honorable Supreme Court replied that as per the relief by the state of Karnataka, the dispute was not pertaining to the distribution or any water dispute. It was only with regard to implementation of the scheme. So it was held that the Supreme Court had the jurisdiction to try this matter. The other is state of Haryana versus state of Punjab, whereby again the question arose that it pertains to water dispute. It was held after going through the pleadings that state of Haryana only wants to implement the scheme and seeking a direction from the Honorable Supreme Court that state of Punjab should start and the canal, and a direction should be issued. I will give the citations later on. The other is dispute is state of Bihar versus Union of India, whereby state of Bihar filed some 9 suits against Union of India. The dispute was that some delivery of rice was to be received from this state of Bihar versus Union of India, wherein Hindustan Tin in Hindustan was made a party. 1 minute. State of Bihar, state of Bihar versus Union of India, whereby 9 suits were filed by the state of Bihar, impleading Union of India as first respondent, while the other respondents were private respondents. So an objection was raised on this regard, and Honorable Supreme Court held that wherein there is a private litigant is involved, the suit must go to the original civil jurisdiction and not to the Honorable Supreme Court, because any dispute which arises out of any constitutional dispute relating to some constitution dispute arising out of some power, responsibilities, duties, liabilities, or immunities which are arising from Constitution, only those disputes can be brought to the Honorable Supreme Court. This is under Article 131. Now, the other is under Article 32, which is very important article, with, as we all know. As per so, late Shri S.B.R. Ambedkar, this article has been stated by him as the heart and soul of the Constitution of India. As all of you know that Article 32 is only relates to the infringement of any fundamental right only. While Article 226, wherein we move to High Court, is much more wider jurisdiction than the under Article 32 of the Supreme Court of India. In Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras, the Honorable Supreme Court has defined the, first of all, defined the scope of the Article 32, whereby they stated that Supreme Court is a protector and guarantor of fundamental rights, and therefore they will not hesitate to provide any remedy for infringement of fundamental right of any person, of any individual. You can note down this Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras. Next judgment you can note down is Kharak Singh versus State of UP, whereby UP Police Regulation Act was under challenged. The facts of the case I can summarize you within a few minutes. That Kharak Singh was a criminal and was on bail, and he was directed to be in his home and to give to be present in his home, and police will come twice at his home and will ask that whether he is present in his home or not. So it was taken as a infringement of his right to personal liberty and freedom. So he challenged those regulations before the Honorable Supreme Court. This was decided by a 7 judges bench, which by 5:2, whereby the whole regulation which was challenged was declared as void by the 5 judges, and 2 judges were of the opinion that entire section is should be quashed. Kharak Singh, so the other as practice and procedure subject is very lengthy, so I will go through only two cases relating to all these subjects, all these jurisdictions. The third is, if you are aware that under Article 32, which is the judicial review power of the Supreme Court, has been considered as a basic structure of the Constitution. So while we are discussing, or if any question arises about practice and procedure, about basic judicial review is a basic structure of the Constitution, then we must go through the chain of the judgments from where it starts and from where it has been followed up till date. So you must have to write down that when first amendment of the Constitution was challenged in Shankari Prasad Dev versus the state versus Union of India, wherein Honorable Supreme Court held that a constitutional amendment is not a law and therefore it cannot be challenged under Article 30 under Article 13, and it can't be a part of Part 3rd of the Constitution of India. Part 3rd relates to the fundamental rights. Thereby, this judgment given by Honorable Supreme Court in Shankari Prasad versus Union of India was upheld in next matter, that is Sajjan Singh versus State of UP. Shankari Prasad judgment relates to the year 1952. Then in 1957, Shankari Prasad versus this Sajjan Singh versus State of UP came. Again, wherein Shankari Prasad was confirmed. Thereafter, in IG Golaknath versus State of Punjab, again constitutional amendment was challenged, wherein both these previous judgments were overruled by a majority of 6:5, wherein it was held that any constitutional amendment is a law and therefore that can be challenged under Article 13 and Part 3rd. and it will fall under part 3rd of the Constitution of India. To come out from this, there in 1973, a judgment Keshwanand Bharti came, wherein this IG Golak versus State of Punjab was again overruled by a majority of 7:6. But it was held that as any amendment to the Constitution can be challenged, but and any amendment which is affecting the basic structure of the Constitution, only that amendment can be challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court. To come out from this effect of this judgment, which was given in Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala, this is 1973 for SCC 225. So again, at that time in central Indira Gandhi government was there. So to come out from the effect of this Keshwanand Bharti judgment, they brought an amendment in 42nd Amendment, which is known as 42nd Amendment, and they introduced section Article 31C and Article 55 in the Constitution of India. It was basically to amend the power of the, to giving so much power to the Union of India or Government of India that nobody could have challenged that. It was so they wanted to introduce Article 368(4) and 368(5), whereby they were having unlimited powers to amend the Constitution, and with a clause that no one will ever challenge this amendment, whatever be brought by parliamentarians. So this amendment, this 42nd Amendment of the Constitution was challenged in Minerva Mills, whereby with a majority of, this was before the 5 judges bench, and by the majority judgment 4:1, it was upheld that judicial review, power of judicial review cannot be revoked by parliament, as it is the basic structure of the Constitution, which otherwise it will destroy the basic structure of the Constitution. So power of Supreme Court under Article 32, as well as power of Honorable High Court under Article 226 were defined as basic structure of the Constitution. What other things were defined as basic structure were the supremacy of the Constitution. Then second was the sovereignty. Third was the judicial review, power of judicial review of the superior courts, and the federal structure of the Constitution. That should not be destroyed. After Minerva Mills, you are also supposed to know that in which these judgments were followed up. Then came Sampath Kumar, wherein the Central Administrative Tribunal power was given. It was amendment in Central Administrative Tribunal Act, whereby what government did, they revoked, they stated that only Supreme Court will have the power of judicial review under Article 32 and 136, but the High Court will not have that power, to that anyone who wants to challenge any order passed by a CAT, in that case, High Court will not having any power. That was challenged in Sampath Kumar. Sampath Kumar's case, wherein Honorable Supreme Court held that as the power of Supreme Court has been intact, so it won't make any effect if power of High Court has not been given. But again, this judgment was overruled in L. Chandra Kumar versus Union of India, because at this time the power of Supreme Court as well as of High Court were taken away by that amendment. So now when this judgment was challenged in L. Chandra Kumar, Sampath Kumar's judgment was overruled, and it was held that Article 226 as well as Article 32 are form basic structure of the Constitution, and this power cannot be taken away. Now next comes public interest litigations, which again comes under Article 32. Under Article 226 as well you can file, but as we are dealing under the Supreme Court jurisdiction under Article 32, so the cases which pertains to the public only, which are concerned with public interest only, that can be filed. There are 3 rules that there is a relaxation in the rule of locus standi, as well as relaxation in the rule of procedure, and it is not an adversarial litigation. In public interest litigation, you must have heard about so many cases, even in pandemic also, so many public interest litigation have been filed by the honorable, by so many activists. So in public interest litigation, you can note down that there are 3-4 important judgments are there, which you must know. Yeah, the last time, if you have attended the uh, all these webinars which have been organized by Anita Madam, she has discussed the Hussain Ara Khatun case versus this Hussain Ara Khatun uh, versus Union of India, whereby conditions of the persons who were in jail and how to get them released from the status in which they were going through were discussed. Then the case is SP Gupta versus Union of India, which is also a famous case, uh, whereby any person who is interested in the subject matter can approach to the Honorable Supreme Court for getting relief, which is mostly related to the public. Then comes the case of this D.K. Basu also, which was taken by the Honorable Supreme Court on the basis of a letter written to the CJI, whereby custodial deaths were discussed and rules were framed, or on the conditions of the, on the plight of the persons who were in custody. Then the one cases is Vishakha versus state of Rajasthan. You must be aware, which is now having only academic knowledge, and as already an act has been formed, wherein this Vishakha case was also a public interest litigation under Article 32, whereby the sexual harassment of women, to prevent the sexual harassment of women at workplace were discussed and regulation by the Honorable Supreme Court. Then I think someone, am I audible?
I'll mute me. आप भी इसमें म्यूट हो जाओगे, वापस आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
One other case which is very important in this regard is A.R. Antule versus R.S. Nayak, whereby a writ petition was filed challenging the proceedings of the Supreme Court. The question arose because A.R. Antule was a minister in the state of Maharashtra, and a complaint was filed against Mr. A.R. Antule. And during those proceedings, matter came before Supreme Court, and Supreme Court directed that instead of trial, in fact, as per law, was to be done before a district judge, a special judge for that purpose. Instead of giving that trial, instead of trial to be by that district judge, Honorable Supreme Court directed that trial be conducted by the Honorable High Court, not by the judge, not by the special judge. It was because that as the matter was pending since long, and to cut short the delay which was already occurred, so this direction was given. Now this matter, when came to again, High Court conducted the trial, and objection was taken before the High Court that one, as right of the accused A.R. Antule has been suffered, because High Court has no jurisdiction to have tried this matter. But Honorable High Court, as the matter was directed by Honorable Supreme Court to High Court with a direction that they have to try it, they rejected their objection. And again, this special petition was moved to the Honorable Supreme Court, whereby question arose, and it was under Article 32. Again, question arose that whether Honorable Supreme Court can, in a direction which has been given them by earlier proceedings, can they revoke their order? So it was held that what is important is that law should prevail. If we admit the mistake and correct it, as no person should be injured by the act of the court. So after realizing that as appellant has lost one I should say stage of appeal, because had the trial been conducted by additional district judge or special judge, then he was having a chance to move to the High Court as appeal and then to Supreme Court. But after coming to this High Court first for conducting trial, the accused lost one chance of appeal. So thereby his right to have equality before the law has been vitiated. So again, the Honorable Supreme Court has recalled all the orders which were passed by them in the proceedings, and again directed that trial should go as per procedure, as per the special acts. So this is the very important a case where we should be aware of all the facts of this case, and we should know that if we are going to write something on Article 32, we should be aware of this case. Now the third part of original jurisdiction comes transfer petitions. Transfer petitions can be filed under three. Again, we can divide into three parts. One is under Section 25 of Civil Procedure Code, whereby matters are related to civil proceedings. Generally, matters relating to the husband and wife or matrimonial cases are to be filed under this section. The Honorable Supreme Court in this section, while allowing this petition for transfer of any civil cases, generally see to transfer the matter for the ends of justice, which is easy. For wives, the Honorable Supreme Court has taken a liberal view, and in few of the matters, the Honorable Supreme Court, while allowing the petition for transfer of cases, has also granted at the same time, if parties were willing or consented that they don't want to live together, they granted divorce on mutual consent basis in the Supreme Court itself, by quashing the proceedings which were pending between the parties at different states. So by using under Article 141 and 1 of the Supreme Court, to do complete justice and to save the parties from suffering mentally and fiscally as well. And then comes transfer under Section 406 of the Criminal Procedure Code, whereby any criminal matter which is pending before any court, in a state to different state. I should make it clear that Supreme Court will transfer only those cases which are which are pending between different states, or has to be transferred from one state to another. Because otherwise, if a case has to be transferred from one city to another city which falls within a same state, then the High Court of that state will have the transfer power. But if case is required to be transferred from one state to another state, then we have to move to the Honorable Supreme Court under Section 25 or 406, whatever the case may be. If it is a civil case, then under Section 25 CPC. If it is a criminal case, then under Section 406.
Sorry to interrupt, Vandana. We have only 1 minute.